Great, in this video we're going to have a quick look at throw bags. So throw bags are really useful for us as paddlers to do bank-based rescues to people that are in the water. We can use our same throw bag to do 101 different things, but their main purpose on the river is often to rescue a paddler who's ended up in the water whilst we're on the side. The parts of our throw bag then, so we've got the bag itself. We're seeing more and more these days we're little fixed sewn in loops at the bottom of throw bags as opposed to having the rope sticking out the end. That's really good because that minimises the number of loops and things on the bag, less snag hazards, which is ideal. On the inside of the bag we have lots of this rope, so in this case we've got 8mm diameter rope, nice and strong enough that it's going to be able to hold a person, potentially even hold a boat if we're having to set up mechanical advantage. We've got 8mm because that's thick enough that it's comfortable for us to hold whilst we're throwing it and catching someone on the end, but also compact enough that it packs down nice and small. The length of this bag then, this is an 18-metre long throw bag. Anything between sort of 15 and 20 metres is probably great for in the UK. Some of your big massive rivers elsewhere in the world you might want to think about larger bags, but the problem with larger bags is they're harder to throw because they become heavier and more challenging. On the far end of the throw bag we've just got a clean end, again minimising the snag hazards, no big handles, no big loops that things can get snagged on, nice clean end. When it comes to working with this bag, we want the rope to deploy out of the bag nice and easily when we throw it. We don't want it to get tangled up and get caught up on the way there. And the way to achieve that is when we pack the bag, we want to make the bag, when we pack the bag, we want to put the rope in the reverse of how we want it to come out. So all I've done here is I've just looped the bag over my shoulders, and now all I'm going to do is I'm going to feed the rope down into the bag nice and loose, nothing complicated, just feeding it in all the way in. So once we've packed the bag will have some sort of closure, 101 different methods of closures on bags, so make sure that whichever style you end up with, you know how that works. When it comes to throwing the throw bag then, we've obviously packed it away and we've left a little bit of rope out at the top of the bag there so that we know that the rope's in there, we know it's ready to rock and roll. When it comes to throwing the bag, first thing we want to do is we want to open up that bag, take an armful of rope out there. Yeah, that's going to be our contingency rope, and just in case things slip and slide a little bit. I'm going to hold that in my non-throwing hand. Okay, the other hand, my throwing hand, it's going to hold the neck of the bag. I could hold the body of the bag, but personally I find that if I'm holding the body of the bag, the rope ends up bundling out before I've thrown it, just because I'm discoordinated. So that's cool, so I like to hold the neck of the bag. I want to look towards my target. With my other hand I can always point at my target, that's always good. It's going to give me a frame of reference for when I'm throwing. And then I prefer an underhand throw. I find for me it's the most accurate and the most reliable one. We could go for all sorts, we could go overhand, we could sometimes go side on if we've got lots of overhead cables, but as I say, I like the underarm throw, it's my most accurate one. I'm going to point at my target and away we go.
Let's see it in context then. Bruce has set himself up in the river this time for better position in this circumstance. He's still on a nice stable platform, he's looking upstream to see where the swimmer's coming from, checking downstream to make sure he's got a safe area to work from. When he deploys the bag, I'm catching it with two hands. Moose is going down onto a nice low stable position as I'm pendulum in.
Great, so we're going to look at a re-throw. So the scenario is that we've thrown the throw bag the first time, we've missed our swimmer, and we're going to run down the bank and we're going to throw again. As we run, we can start our recoils. So it doesn't matter which side of the bag I start with. I've got the bag end here, so I'm going to hold that in my hand. I've got my thumb and my pinky side of my hand, and what I'm going to do to start with, I'm going to take a big bite of rope to the thumb side and then to the pinky side, and I'm just going to keep going with this. Now if you're a climber, you'll recognise this as a butterfly coil. We use it a lot for drying out ropes. And the great thing with this is I only need to coil as much as I need to throw. So if the river is only a couple of metres wide, I only need a couple of metres of rope. As my hand starts to fill, what I can do if I really still need all this rope is I can clamp that down and start putting some coils just in 2 fingers there. Which means that when I get to my throwing site, I can split these coils before I throw.
Here we are then for another in context throw. This is our re-throw. So Moose has moved down the course, he's missed on the first throw, and as he's been moving he's been coiling up those coils. He's getting these ropes sorted around his feet, making sure he's not tangled up in it. You can see he's getting his feet set, nice stable position. He's watching for the swimmer coming down, and as I come down the rope gets deployed. I grab the line, he gets himself down into a super stable position and allows the water to pendulum me into the side.